Hey guys, Chuck Barone here today, Wednesday, June 29th, 2022, and boy do we have lots of fun stuff to talk about today. Before we get up, of course, I want to start by saying thank you to everybody for being here, watching the videos, sharing them with your friends. The group is growing like crazy. I appreciate you guys and your support, especially the comments and questions. You guys have been just so generous and really good at giving us suggestions on how to make the show better, how to do things better. I really appreciate your guys' support and generosity. In today's market report, not a lot of news today. The stock market was basically flat. The Dow eked out a small gain for the day. The broader markets, the S&P 500 was down. The NASDAQ was down. The market did not have a very good tenor to it today. It seemed like it really kind of wanted to go down the whole day. There was a little bit of support holding it up. We'll see where this market goes for the rest of the week. It's going to be interesting to see how it finishes. I think we're starting to see some, well, what's the right way of saying this? There's some lack of support on the buy side. So I think we could see a little bit more decline coming forward this week. In the bond market, lo and behold, another miracle rally in the debt market. The 10-year down to 309, down 11 basis points. It looks like the market manipulation that they're doing is working to keep the debt market liquid. I get, for the life of me, I never seen anything like it. You know, they insist they're serious about fighting this inflation. I'm starting to have my doubts now. Action speaks louder than words, they say. And if you're judging by their actions rather than what they're saying, it doesn't really seem like they're too serious about it. The metals market today was pretty flat, down fractionally. I think that if silver gets down a little bit further, we might be looking at getting a little bit of taste of silver. Oil had a down day today, not a good day. They gave back basically all the gains they made yesterday. So the market's pretty much flat for the week. I think that oil has some upside still. I think that there's some pressure or whatever to suppress the price of it. It's hard to speculate that there's going to be a lot of extra supply coming on the market, which would bring the prices down. So I really don't know what's driving that. The dollar up fractionally today. It's holding its own against foreign currencies, just not holding its own so much at the gas pump or at the supermarket. Bitcoin today ended up rallying up and eking out a small gain for the day. It's still above the $20,000 support number. I think it has, it was negative most of the day today. It was under that $20,000 line, and I was a little bit concerned that we were going to see a breakout to the downside. But toward the very last of the day, there was a big surge in the market, a big rally, getting it back up to positive territory for the day, and still holding that $20,000 support line. So the markets today were kind of mixed. I think really the only movers were the markets that were being a little bit worked on by outside forces rather than just regular investors. And we'll see how this week finishes out now, because it's really been just kind of a not much happening kind of week. In the news today, well, let's start with the fantasy news. Today over there in Europe, we had Fed Chair Powell, the E.C.B. Chair, Christine Lagarde, the chairman of the Bank of England, and the chairman of the Bank of International Settlements, which is basically the shadow central bank that all of these central banks use. They were talking about the world economy and each of their own individual economies. Fantasy time, the craziest stuff. If any of you watched it, I hope you enjoyed the comedy show as much as I did. Let me give you a few tidbits of what these geniuses were saying. Powell came out and said that the U.S. economy is very strong. Really? That's in the face of the news today that the economy contracted more than they thought in the first quarter. It's going to contract again in the second quarter, but somehow the Fed chair sees that as unusually strong. Wow. Okay, that's really different. I've got to say, I call bullshit on that. Excuse my French. Powell also said that the job market is, get this one, unsustainably hot, meaning that there's more people that want work than there are, or there's more jobs than people that want work, and as a result, it's driving wages up. When they say unsustainably hot, they mean they don't want to pay more wages. So they're going to get that in order to bring wages back down to what works for their corporate overlords. The comedy line of the day for me, though, was the European bank chief, this Christine Lagarde, talking about how in Europe they're going to raise rates a little more slowly than Powell did here in the U.S. And next month at their July meeting, they're intending to raise their overnight rate 1/4 point. To get this, they're going to raise the rate to negative 0.25%. That's how serious they are about fighting inflation, guys. They think that they can tamp down inflation with a negative interest rate. I'm going to guess that there's going to be some more rate increases needed in Europe before they can get that situation under control. A negative interest rate in an inflationary environment. And these people really want us to take them seriously. It's just, I gotta say, I've never seen anything like it. Remember this, guys. Every bubble leads to a crisis ultimately. And so will this debt bubble we're building right now. Going back in time, think of these bubbles. You've heard of all of these bubbles, right? So you got the tulip mania. You got the stock market in the 20s. You got the commodities boom in the 70s and into the 80s. You have the dot-com boom that went crazy. You have the real estate boom earlier in the 2000s up to 2008. And we've all seen how these giant bubbles end. They all end the same way. So I just think that all this manipulation is to try to prevent the bubble from deflating. And I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off this time. We're already hearing talking heads talking about peak inflation. They're talking about, they're already trying to turn the market around, talking about, well, by 2024, they're going to be cutting rates again. Really? What are you basing that on? If the Fed raises rates the way they've promised, which I have to admit I have my doubts about, I think that rate cuts in 2024, no, I doubt it. I really doubt it. And I think that sometimes that what the Fed's actions are doing is less to fight inflation and more to hold the job market back to keep wages low for working people. It just seems silly to me what they're doing. This is not what a real business person or a really smart central banker would be doing. And he certainly would be sending out these mixed signals where you're keep promising to fight inflation out of your mouth and you're doing nothing about it except making it worse by your actions. We're already seeing signs that bad stuff's on the way. We got big job cuts coming. Job cuts are already happening. Let's read off a few of the names. J.P. Morgan, Redfin, Netflix, Coinbase, Tesla. Everybody's starting to cut jobs right now, getting rid of overhead. This is going to lead to the recession we've been talking about and predicting. It's coming very soon, guys. And wait then until the construction industry starts to contract, because that really has a gigantic cascading effect. Okay, so it starts with the developers. Then it trickles down to all the construction companies and the other contractors who are building these houses. Then it goes to the suppliers who supply the lumber, the concrete, the nails, the tools, the on and on roofing stuff, and the list goes on and on. Then it trickles down to the truckers and the people who bring these materials and move these materials around, all the skilled laborers. And then you go to when the houses are built. So now there's no more landscaping, furniture, appliances. The list just starts this cascading effect where everything in the entire economy starts to get worse. This real estate crack up is coming, guys. It's already, you're already seeing it. I've been talking about it over the past week or two on this blog. You know, you're seeing already prices coming down. You're seeing the houses listed longer. You're seeing more houses being listed. Demand in brand new houses is down pretty dramatically. Even though prices are still defying gravity, they won't be able to do that for long. Picture the old Roadrunner cartoon where Wile E. Coyote runs off the cliff, and he's, for a few minutes there, he's still up in the air and he's running and running, but sooner or later it all ends in that big puff of smoke at the bottom of the canyon. And I hate to say it, guys, but I really think that that's where we're going. Businesses are not only cutting jobs, but they're cutting their spending forecast for capital investments in the businesses down the road. And again, all of this stuff that you're seeing the very beginning of has a cascading effect that's going to trickle down through the entire economy. Trickle down will actually work in this particular case. And it's going to trickle down all the bad stuff to the people who are less able to handle this stuff. It's going to get bad. So please take what we've been saying in the blog seriously. Get yourself into a defensive crouch with your investments. Be thoughtful and careful with your money. Try to save as much as you can. Prepare for the worst, because the worst is coming. You know, this economy is already contracting. It's going to get worse. We're just at the very beginning of it. Remember, you guys are now way ahead of the curve than the regular guy out there who's not listening to these blogs, not taking the time to educate himself. Take advantage of your head start by making the right moves now. I appreciate you guys being here today. I feel like I have the very, very best of it with the people who are watching these videos. As always, hit the like button, share the videos with your friend, comment in the comments, please ask questions. By the way, I appreciate everybody noticing the audio was better yesterday. I think we finally have that ironed out. And of course, if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. We're going to try every day to make this channel better for you guys, to bring you more pertinent information. We're going to answer your questions. I've been going online. I spent some time yesterday in the comments answering questions and commenting. We're going to have a show probably early next week where all we're going to do is answer questions I get asked in comments. So keep those questions coming. We really appreciate you guys watching the blog. If there's anything you think that we need to add to it that'll make it more interesting, more amusing, more informative, or whatever you think would be good, please let us know. Anyway, in the meantime, have a great and blessed day. We really appreciate your guys' support. If you haven't already, go to Greg's channel and watch his video this afternoon. I'm sure he has something very, very important for everybody to hear. In the meantime, then, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks.